به جل وعلا ولا أكفره وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله ولو كره المشركون. Dear believers, the title for the talk tonight or this afternoon is Historical Update. And every now and then, if you're on a journey, you have to, if you're on an ocean voyage, you have to check your charts, maps, and what have you. Even study the stars in the old days. And you want to make sure that you can go from coast to coast, from port to port, within reasonable time without running up on the rocks and breaking up your transportation and what have you. So the longer you practice sailing, usually, the better you get. And I said that because I want to relate back to something that we remember that I showed y'all. It was 1986, and it was accordion folders, and the government had stole my accordion folders. This is 1986. And it had all of this type of stuff, like the same type of stuff right here. This is a quick copy, and and then this is putting it down that's going to be for a while. Now, I could get this, and I could be in line with where we are. I could get this, and I could be in line with what we are. I could take the and I could take all of that other stuff, and I could put it together with a date book, which we've kept all along, and it could figure out. So they could take two of the things, and it wouldn't make no difference. You could get back home with one. So when they stole those articles, they thought, well, this will make him really upset and probably paranoid. They were thinking probably that when we take all of his records, that is from 1980 up till 1986, okay, of course they didn't get them all, of course, but they will see, or I will think that they will know my pattern of thought and all that stuff, which they did, because I wrote all that stuff down. So I call it a big victory because from that point on, I always kept the same notes and everything. I kept the same basic habits that I always had. But from 1986, which was about 6 years ago, there's a small change. Just like in recent years, there's been a small change. Just like as we're this historical update, many could tell that we're easing into a new arena. No, not a new arena. The same arena. It's just evolved, that's all. The arena has not evolved as much as we have. The arena has sped up. accelerated a lot. And we have accelerated so we can be up with it or out in front of it. It would be difficult at this time for the arena to get out in front of us, because if we can remember any of our flyers 10, 15, 20 years ago, we're going to do an air war. That might have been almost 20 years ago. 10 years ago, we talked about the strategic command structure that was developing and the strategic alliances that was developing then. And what we had to do at that time, and I'm telling you, it jumped off. Well, it's been jumping off. Whether it was 2006 and the invasion of Lebanon, everybody was panicked, especially at first about that. They called it a great tragedy and everything. I said, oh no, you might remember the title by Shearer. I said, that's good news. That's what it turned out to be. So, oh no. I mean, before everybody else come to that conclusion, I said, no, absolutely not. That's good news. And this has been what we've been doing, and I have a feeling that we've been improving on it. Just to give you a little example, if we were to use this latest Isnaic mass, the convention outline, when you look at this, if you looked at if Standard Oil was having a conference with all their people coming, this is what basically they're, if Hilton Hotel chain was having a conference, right? This is what it would look like, basically. They set it up on, I've been in some of those meetings a long time ago, and they had the conference guide with them. And when they discussed, I've even been there when they've talking with the people at the hotels, about how they're going to arrange, okay, if we have to get so many rooms to get this rate. And that's why they're always pushing for those rooms to get that rate. And it's a discount. And the Muslims have it at a special time. They used to have their stuff on not only Labor Day and other days at the end of in September, whatever that was. And they used to have them on Thanksgiving. They would have them on Christmas and New Year's. Why? Because nobody's using those big hotels at that time. They're all at home with family. They can get it cheap. They can get it cheap, and the Muslims can work all the overtime they need, because everybody else want to be off on Christmas and New Year's, and we could care less, right? Because our New Year's is some other time, and definitely we don't care nothing about Christmas. So this system is set up where we can fit right up in it without losing any, friction. That is, if we do it right. But I wanted to draw your attention to this convention brochure. When we think about our national update, and when we look at this, this has a whole psychological profile for where they are now, what they hope for, and where they want to go. It's all right here. It's all outlined. It's right here. Anybody that know anything could pick this up and and they could see basically where they've been, if they know any of the speakers, if they know da. If they don't, they could pick up where these people are and where they want to go. They're not, there's one thing for sure where they're not. That is that Muslims are a brotherhood. If part of the body hurts, the rest of the body should feel the pain, right? Absolutely no pain about Yemen. It's just not pain. And that there's no pain, there's no more painful reality for now than Yemen. But I'll look again, but I didn't see anything about Yemen. Except back here, they'll pick up all your Korbani money, which will go to them. Of course, maybe they've sent some of it, right? How are they going to get this money to Afghanistan? They ain't hooked up like that. I'm just saying. I go those places, and I talk to people who receive charity from different places. If Indonesia is sending some charity to certain, you get a whiff of it. Syria refugees in Jordan, Syrian refugees in Lebanon, Yemeni refugees in Djibouti, Yemeni refugees in Jordan, Yemeni refugees in Somalia. Well, that would be good. That would be great. I'm not saying they don't do it, but I don't get that feeling that they do. If they do 20% of this is fine. That's sufficient. But we can get a good profile of two of the largest groups in the United States, Islamic Circle of North America and MAS. Okay. They came in here some years ago, and their sheikh was sitting over there, older guy, and they was working with Abdul Malik them. See, Abdul Malik them was sent to Hajj by them and all of that, you know. So, and he come back, I saw a C-SPAN program where he was looking Hajjiistic, and even a little hikmah there, that's great. So, you know, and almost learned or wanting to be learned, you know. If you're going to be learned, you have to know which side to be on. You can't get stuck in the headlights of history and be learned. Our people, right now, stuck right there in the headlights of history. I don't want to change the subject. I'll get back to this, but one of the guys, I'm not going to call it crackpotism, but he's called me 4 or 5 times today, and he goes through different changes. Sometimes he's very stable and focused, and he wants to help us with multimedia stuff, and he has experience in that. And he sounds really, you know, okay. And if he don't get the right response, boss man will flip him, and he'll I'm going with Jamaatul Tabligh and da. And if I don't give no response, I'm going back home to Iraq, and I'm going now in a hurry. Well, you could do something here. No, I have to go. Okay, go ahead. I say, how's your Arabic? How long you been here? so many zillions of years. I said, so your Arabic is up to date? Well, I just talked to the guy at the embassy, and he was my uncle, and he told me, hey, you got to improve that Arabic, stuff like that. So I just would ask him, so you're going to be down in the south, Basra and all that? Yeah, I'm going to get in and I'm going to help make that, and I'm going to. I said, well, uh, you have to, you can go on over there. In fact, I suggest that you go on over there because I already see what's been, I knew the minute I got the first phone call, zillion years ago, where it was coming from. But it's okay. So you go on over there. I said, do you know the different groupings? Yeah, there's this, that. I said, yeah, well, what are they going to think of you? I said, everybody else that speaks any English have been trying to get out of there with their life. And you're going to come back from here and you're going to go over there and they're going to trust you and love you and think you there. They'd have just blew up the whole country twice, 3 times, and nothing functions. And you're going to come there speaking Arabic with an English accent. That'll be great. That's why I call it crackpotism, because I don't mean to bring up all of this stuff, but every day I'm bombarded with buffoonery. And at this time, little things. Look, when we went over there and was handing out that food, that was simple, but it was so successful that it discombobulated them. I mean, they were right. We went over this before, but just imagine. Negrocious is over there with his crew, the other Negro youths going around raising funds. Now, I know Negrocious when I talk about the 2 pots of beans, black beans disappearance, when I talk about getting a call from the federal penitentiary after somebody had done so many years. After all, I mean, I know what I'm dealing with. Before we started this process that we're in now, in 2006, we were already from Jump Street. When we opened up, we knew what we was dealing with already. The day I opened the Masjid about, of course I went right back to the penitentiary. Then when I got out, boop, somebody come from up in Oregon, a Negro Imam from Cleveland with a white wife. Now this girl was healthy. White girls used to didn't be healthy, what we mean healthy. But now they're moving along. I guess they're eating more. But you remember, look at any old movie. White women are stick women. Oh, I don't care whether it's the ones they consider the most beautiful, Ruth Roman and all of them. They're sticks straight up and down. They called Marilyn Monroe the blonde bombshell. 22, 36, 36. That was unbelievable in those days. That girl, if they had a white paper bag test that you had to be certain shape to get in, she couldn't get in nowadays, right, with the women nowadays. The women are in the gym working out, running, and they, at 50 years old, they still looking, presentable. And at 60, some of them are looking like human beings. And some of them keep it on, but in those days when you hit a certain thing, it was all over. So today, At that time, that was a healthy lady. Now they figure I just come out of the pen, I'm black, da 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 da. So I'm gonna move on white women, you know. I'm gonna make a move. And the woman was hitting, and I told them, y'all, I looked up, they was in the Masjid stand. I told them, y'all got to go, you know. And I was the same thing. I said, if somebody, I just got out of the penitentiary, and anything that lady says is going to go, they're going to say, well, he couldn't help it because she was white, so, and healthy too, so built like a Negro woman in those times, and so they, whatever they said would go. I mean, So I said, no, y'all got to get on out of here. And the brothers, or one of the brothers that was kind of helping me, he was against it. You should, I said, no, man, ain't no way. I ain't doing that. Anyway, so the next time I heard from the lady, she called me at 12 o'clock at night when it was pouring down rain, talking about come and pick her up and take her somewhere. I said, I'll call you a cab, lady. And this is years later. And then right after that, she pulled up with a guy named John. I guess kind of pregnant or something. And I said, well, that's the way they work. And I already understand all of what I'm dealing with. And the stuff that they use is childish. They figure that everybody, for instance, if you use this type of thing, if you use pretty women on Abdul Malik, it would work because that's what he do. He wavy-headed on the campus, the president of the student body, So he got an image, self-image. And you could tell because some of the girls on campus, for a few years, they keep calling and coming by, you know what I mean, from the university. They just visiting, but it looks like they visiting for certain reasons. So, and in the curly-headed crew, there's certain people that, I tell you, there's a guy here that jumped on TV the other week about Malcolm. And he was pretending to be an Imam here. And he went down to Dixie for over a year. And just in conversation, he said, no, man, if you're certain light skin tone, these people are down south. They similarly like that here, but down south, they still, if you're over anything near light, you get 3 extra stars by your name automatically, On the other hand, the way I'll put it is this. We have learned and understood how our people and their people and that people function. And we've been able to use all of it for our, I feel that's why we're here. We've been able to use all of it for an example. We had a program here, and on one Sunday, the Halle Berry lady called, and she was saying, I'm ready to go to California. I don't know if anybody remember that. Yeah, I'm ready to go to California. And so when I got to the door, one of the brothers said, yeah, you did a little skip there at the door. I said, yeah. I said, but it wasn't because of what you thought. It was because that kicked in. That kicked in. And that kicking in was not what I'm ready to go to California. No, this explains or reinforces what we've been knowing all the time. And this personality. See, people will misinterpret kindness and uncertainty about maybe you like somebody or something. Well, no. If everybody's making fun of the sister, she's down there living in a trailer. She's living like she should have been all the time. She done turned the trailer trash, you know. And no, that's what they're talking about in California, you know. And I had said years before, I said, hey, your wife is, I used the word surreptitious, that means, and because when I would go there, it was always cut off, ease up, and, you know, and then if somebody come through the door, zipping back, this and that. And then I looked at their behavior too, like one of the brother that was married to this lady. When we call her Halle Berry at that time, that's just about what she looked like. Not only physically, face, but her shape. Everything was right on. The curly hair, the wavy hair, part of the curly-headed crew. Everything that the average Negro would, you know, would respond to, you know. And whatever was going on, it was a management thing going on. So Abdul Malik was doing her like this, snapping his finger and pointing, and she would jump and do that. So I told him, I said, man, niggas don't do no people like, we don't do people like that. I said, we help elevate people. If you see something in somebody where they, you know, they're missing something, you're an imam. You help them get there. You don't abuse. I said, that's the white man does that. That's what I said. I said, that's the white man. He does that, snapping his finger, and you know, people jump. You know, why they jump? Maybe they want to keep their position. Maybe they're in us. That it doesn't make a difference. You're a healer. You're not here to add on to that. But anyway, let me get into back where I was. So everybody is reading the same newspaper from their view. No matter what the newspapers say, they're interpreting it that this is what it says. He's this kind of brother, he's that age, and he's from that class of people, and therefore he would do that. Well, they couldn't read and write because by that time I was in the 13th or 14th year of celibacy. And there's no Negro imam that got no record like that. They just don't. They don't. They might, but they wouldn't have no reason to. And that was my reason. Discipline, management, self-control, and you know, all of that stuff, and not wanting to. So they would load the bases up. Every time one woman coming through with one pitch, another woman coming through with another pitch. I mean, they going to load up the bases, especially when you're rejecting it. And then the poor people in Oakland used to think, because I slept in the back on the floor, you know, they thought the guy is lonely. So I would go over to the lights and I would flick the lights. Okay, at family night, it's time for y'all to go. I got to go get some rest. I got to get up in the morning and run the hills. I had a schedule. And they was hanging around because they thought they're going home to their family, that I was there lonely. I was there happy. They were going back to families with kids running all around and throwing stuff and them arguing, rolling their eyes at each other, the wife and the husband. That's what they going through. I wasn't having none of that. Because I was there and the only thing I deal with what's before me and boss man. Let me get back on schedule. So if we go back to where we start with, we can see where Ikna and Isna is coming from. We can see basically, does everybody feel the same way about this as I do? That you can get a feeling of where they're trying to go, what they hold in high esteem, and who, and, basically what their program is. You could see it. Okay. Our program and our platform is different. Okay. So I'm going to just jump right into what we're this week we'll go to PGMA and we'll have our loudspeaker, of course, but we won't be fundraising. We'll just be, here's something, whatever they do, it's up to them. And that's tomorrow. We'll do some cooking tonight. What we want to have for the menu, we already had a chicken ready, and I may make some spaghetti. But and of course we're gonna have vegetables and rice, but I don't want to have too many starches. But it might be okay, and a salad. So that'll be the meal. It'll be 4 things. Be a big piece of chicken, mixed vegetables and rice, or let's call it what they call it, rice biryani, or vegetable biryani. Just to mix it up a little, we'll have salad over there, and we'll have I'll hook up some, what's the name tonight? Spaghetti, just, So I'll chop up some stuff and put it, just for the heck of it. And that'll be what we'll have. Now for here, I'm going to leave that mac and cheese, and I got some chicken on the side, so tonight I'm going to fry some chicken. It'll be like that other chicken, since everybody kind of liked it. And each pot of those chickens, I would save a little on the side to fry. So I got a pan that I'll fry it. Whatever it is, it should be enough. They can live without salad. Shoot. What we'll have is mixed vegetables and rice biryani. Rice biryani, that chicken. And what else? Oh, mac and cheese. That'll be fine. 3 things. And we will we'll leave one of the waters here. Or is it any water downstairs?
Yeah, there's 3 cases.
No, I know. I just brought those.
Oh, okay. There's some still in the pool. Oh, there is some still in the pool? Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, I'll leave about 10 or 12 out, because we'll take the cooler. What I'm doing is freezing big blocks of ice right now, so we just put a little water in there and pop them, and that'll keep it. We could take all of those waters with us and leave 10 or 12 behind. So let me see. Loudspeaker, okay, water. Menu, chicken, rice, mixed vegetables, and salad for over there, and spaghetti for over there. So anyway, we'll have everything hooked up down here. We have 3 things here, and that's enough. Okay. I want to mention the era of extraordinary accuracy. You know when that is? Era, the time, that period, is right now. Have you noticed how accurate okay. Now, the way Boss Man is doing, he get the cars messed up, that truck, so he figured we'll just keep the nigga isolated where he can't get around. And da-da-da-da-da. So I go gingerly along with it. I'm enjoying that. Just kicking back, mowing the lawns, having a little exercise. I don't have to go to the Masjid because we're going to go there every now and then. And going to the Masjid will be just like this. When we go here and we read one thing, we can understand the whole process. When we go to a few Jummahs around with 100 years of activity we've had with everybody, all it is judging, what is that little difference to see? What is it saying? That's all. The accuracy, especially dealing with time, have picked up in the last year or so. It's simple. Technically, I can take my phone and listen to every lecture on China that they've made, and I can be in the last. Every lecture that comes up on any subject, I don't have to. I used to have to run down to the library, and I used to have to keep all of that stuff. Now, I look at it, and I run off me a copy from the printer. I don't have to, I don't have to do that. I can, whatever they're saying about Russia and Ukraine, they're saying it right now. All I have to do is go around, and I'll get that exact information. That's why the forward looking is not getting, by being here all the time, is not getting behind. It's getting ahead. It's getting more accurate. Just think about what we talk about here right now. It's more accurate. We would talk months and maybe years ahead, just shortly. Not anymore. We can pinpoint accurate within days. This is going to happen, that's going to happen, this is probably what. Why? Because we can listen to, and we know when they're lying and when they're telling the truth. We got enough, we already have our own background of history and everything. So if you listen to an hour lecture, you may pull 3 points or maybe 4 points that you didn't even think about before. They don't make any difference, but when you listen to all these people and everything, you get a chance to focus in. When you listen to different peoples and see how they hooked up, they had, when the old scarf-wearing Negro man, Cornell, and him and the white man that was the big white man. Not Noam Chomsky, no. You know the one that we know very well. Not Wolf. Yeah, all of them. Yeah. Hedges and Wolf and all of that. At first they sound reasonable, but then after you listen to them a while, you can figure who's in the club. It's just who's on the team. And pretty soon you begin to think there's nobody on the team but us. They're just saying, except the people that are hiding. Because there are people on the team with us that wouldn't even think about disclosing who they are, their whereabouts. They just don't. And they're not supposed to. There's friends that we have in different countries, almost every country. Like if they start stabbing us in the back, the big rich guys in South Africa, we got friends in South Africa that leaned up to us and that they were against. And when I would try to tell them to try to work with them, they would hate those people. Anybody that I would recommend, they would hate them. And one time we was one of the big rich guys. These are Indians. They're very rich, the richest people over there. So he was telling me about, see, Cape Town is more revolutionary because Cape Town is all kind of mixtures. Cape Town is full of colors, mixtures of Malays, Indians, Africans. They have a full variety, Cape Town. And there's 700,000 Muslims in Cape Town, and they're more revolutionary than any of the Muslims in other parts. So the big rich guy is talking to me, and he done got hot about the guys in Cape Town. These guys here, he was actually calling them a bunch of niggas. They're backwards. They're, you know what I mean? They're not long thinking and and he is talking to a colored man, and I was wondering, what the hell does he think that I think what he's saying? And he's talking to me. And I'm just thinking he must be forgetting himself. Because he's telling me, those are niggas. They're not smart. They're not, see, because if you look at them, they know how to ease up to, and they do all that big time stuff, which what we do, they call it ignorant. It's ignorant to go this, that, and another. It's not ignorant. It's the ultimate wisdom for us to do what we're doing now. There's nothing more excellent that I could think of that's sharper and smarter and more timely than to deal with this, and it's innovative. Nobody expected us to deal with this system like we're dealing with it. Nobody expected we would be here, especially Boss Man and the Negroes. They had us counted out every time. At every fight, he'll be out and they go 2 rounds off. They had counted us out. And they all shocked. And they throw everything at you, including the kitchen sink, and none of it works. And then they sitting there. That's why I talk about my favorite baboon, the one that walks with his butt sticking up in the air, big red behind, and the lips sticking all out. And he don't think it's nothing wrong. For him, it ain't. But it lets us know he's a baboon. And the way he's walking is a baboon walk. And the way he got the baboon look, and so do our Negroes. And Arabs, they look like baboons. They got a baboon look. They wear baboon clothes, or baboons don't take the way. But they everything they do is baboonish. It's baboonish. It's right out of the baboon playbook. So, some of our friends are the same guy that I don't know if you saw it in the newspaper. Because every demonstration they would go to, they would have AK-47s, and they would go to a big drug dealer's place, and they would give them a warning. Then they would come back and give them another warning. The third time they would do what? So this one guy, they come back and they hit him with AK-47s and everything, and he was out laying down, and then somebody eased up to him and set him on fire. But he wasn't all the way dead. That fire brought him up. You ever see those monster movies where the monster's on fire? That's the way Rashid Staji was. He was on fire and he was walking. he died right away. But that fire brought him up off that ground, and he was it was a famous picture that they had. I don't know if you saw it, but this was way back 20 years ago or longer. It was a while back. The point is, our position, we thank Allah, we we thank Allah over and over again, day and night, about what we're doing, how we're allowed to do it, and we thank Allah for His direct guidance, because the stuff is so convoluted that you would have to be guided by an ultimate power in order to maintain your composure. Some of it is so funny you would laugh yourself to death. Some of it would make you angry. So how are you going to keep an even keel? The law got you in power and got you hooked up. So, so the time in which we're living in, you have to maintain yourself, because otherwise you would do what I call a psycho bitch slap. A psycho bitch slap, it's not a bad word because I'm using it in this context. A psycho bitch slap, half of it would be the same thing that what's-her-name did to what's-her-name on stage the other day. No, a bitch slap is when you, with an open hand. It come from the pimp days, that's what they did. Bitch, I told you, bam! And that's the way people acted, you know. And so, no, we do that. You have to understand, I want you to look at people that have attacked us. First of all, Abdul Malik and them tried to play psych game and didn't work. So he retired. Mukhtar came behind and told him, you shouldn't have retired, shouldn't have quit that quick. You should have did. So he came in. The stuff he came in with in recent time, he brought that because he thought that he have another analysis. That number one, I'm getting old. Number two, he had one of them compound bows, and I'm pretty good at that stuff. So I had it. In fact, I still got it. So I said, can you pull that? I was talking myself. He said, yeah, I pull it. Okay. So when I was by myself, I would pull it at a compound, and when it gets back here, it releases. The farther back you pull it, the more power it releases. So if you're shooting a 70 or 80-pound bow, when you get that boy all the way back, you're almost shaking. And if you can pull a 100-pound bow, that means 100 pounds of pressure. If you can pull it, you can't hardly aim it because but a compound bow, you get twice that much because it's got them little wheels, and when you pull it, it gets past, it gets easier. Pretty soon, you're almost resting and aim it. He was watching all that. We walked out on the yard one day, and I stepped in a hole, and I fell over. Of course, I popped right back up. So he's adding all of this up. He says, this nigga's getting old. He's losing balance. When you get older, your balance. Older people break hips. He's thinking that type of old. I'm out on the yard, and I'm walking on the grass, and I stepped in a light hole, and boop. Now, when you're young, you can trip over and catch yourself, stumble down a thing. But when you get older, all I did was, okay, I'm going down. So I hit the ground and rolled right back up. I popped right back up. That was quite a while ago. But he's adding all this up. He's adding all this up, and he's thinking, finally, when he did what he did, he was thinking, this nigga is so old. By that time, I'm 70-something. This nigga is so old that, him and the 300-pound lady, we take this nigga out, we'll whoop him to death. Well, actually, they did. But the only thing is, as you said, you didn't pass out at all. No, you used the word lost consciousness. I said, no, I never lost no consciousness. So, but I knew what to do. I can grab him. I can't grab her, but I can grab him and I pull him to me pretty soon. When I'm getting ready to get on top of him, it's just that my head makes a perfect target for her. And she's whack, whack, whack. But I didn't go out. I didn't go down. Anybody else will say, this nigga here is hard as nails. This nigga here is tough. That's what anybody else would say. If somewhere they got that on, I know they got it on video somewhere. If you ever find it and you see the kind of wax that they was laying out on me, right smack dab on my head, and I never even blinked. I never blinked. And I don't know if you saw when it was all over, I told my sons, okay, take me home. I'm getting in. And they saying, Dad, you got to go to the hospital. And I can't see myself. I'm not looking at myself, and I can't see my head. I wasn't hurting or nothing. I'm going on and get some sleep. Dad, you got to go. And they looking at me like, because they looking at me like I look on the picture. You know what I mean? And that's not the way I'm feeling. It ain't like I just got beat up and brutalized, really brutalized. You could see on the picture, that was brutal. That was brutal, and it was for a Negro to do that to somebody that's pulled him out of the gutter. I'm not bragging. And pulled him up and handled him like that. Well, that's what they do. That ain't no big deal. I don't feel like I did anything wrong, or I don't feel like I was abused. I said, that's great, because now it's all there on camera. You know, the guy that called the other day, today, he just said it was 2 hours, maybe an hour ago, hour and a half. That lady that comes on the thing, I said, that lady come on just where you could see her. That lady ain't getting that. I said, the more she come on, the better it is for us. I said, because they're going to have to answer all of those questions, you know. And everybody know what's going on. It don't matter whether that's why it takes, that I said that when a person graduates from high school, they should have to stand on the stage in front of the whole auditorium and just have everybody laugh at them and point at them for an hour to find out that there ain't nothing to it. And they should get a trip around the world, you know, so they can see what the world looks like, get a feel for its size and, you know, its peoples. So anyway, whatever the people think, they would think that that stuff that happened would have a certain effect on somebody. If I go to jail all the time, that's wonderful, because I have the deed and I have all those arrest records, you know, going to jail. And the police put me in. We have one picture, even Mukhtar's on the picture. You could tell it's him, right? Okay. Everything. What else? I didn't think we would get that good of a introduction, you know. And it's illegal what they done. You know that everything they have done to take somebody off of an account and put somebody else on it is totally illegal. It's ridiculous. That's what they did with me. Okay. When I get ready to sue them, I'll sue them. If they said you let too much time go by on certain times, that don't work. They've sold property. Mukhtar is signed that I have the deed where he sold one of our. the big piece of property that I was remodeling for all of those years, he sold it. He sold it. He ain't got the money because if he got the money, he would have been long gone. If it was anything like he would be gone, he wouldn't. The white folks ain't let him keep that money, right? He's on a regular salary, a poor man's police salary. That's all. Anyway, so as I was telling the brother, I said, no, man, well, she talks this way. I said, that's okay. Those are friends of mine. They're helping me. They work for me. They work for you? She sounds real mean. I said, that lady is our best friend. That lady is our best friend. The stuff she said, you know, when we run this, can you imagine we're in the question, okay, the jury's listening and I'm questioning. I said, did you say that my father sold me into slavery? I don't know what you're talking about. I said, well, this sounds like what you said. Is that you saying that? She said that, right? Can you imagine all the dumb stuff they've done? It's wonderful. It's ridiculous. It's wonderful, right? I mean, I laid the trap, but I didn't know it was going to be that extensive. That's why I kept on doing it. I said, I can't believe it. Look how this is going. So I just, shoot, man, I was ready to wrap this up years ago. I said, man, look at this here. And it kept on and kept on. And then when we get here, they would call. And I said, man, this is never ending. This is a gift that never, what they say, never stops giving. Yeah, keeps on giving. I said, that's them. Okay. This is counteroffensive time of our era. And I have artificial intelligence era here because that has to do with acceleration of time. It's not only the war in Ukraine, this, that, and other, but although those 5 stages was only 10 years ago, 11 years ago, 11 years ago, since then and now there's a big jump in the evolution of the time sequences. It's like now, that's almost like the old days because you could plan it, map it out, and then you could watch it develop it. But now, with this artificial intelligence mentality and what's going on in the media, you can see things are hitting fast, bam, bam, bam. And you can see the decline of America is visible. It's not like you talk about it, but the decline of America, the idiots right now, I think the conference was just over that they had for the Latin American conference. It's ridiculous. Even the white folks is talking about it and how it don't make. It is absolutely ridiculous. And I heard on the radio today, early this morning, or it was late last night, one guy was talking about They invaded Iraq and they didn't get sanctioned. They raided this, they ran it all down. Did you hear that? I said, well, you come on over with us. It just laid it out. And then I tell you what it was. You know the European conference thing that they had? This was one of the ones that they don't let speak very much. This is one of the conferences for the European thing that they got for NATO and all of that. They got a whole nother crew that they never mention. The Europeans, I believe these bootlicking Europeans is outnumbered by the others. Because it sounded like he had a team with him. So you sanction Iran, you sanction this, you sanction that. What about you? They done invaded Iraq twice. They done did this, that, and another. The wars in Yemen, and they support that. And and they say that the Zionists are attacking the Palestinians every day, all day, any day. That's what they said this morning. I heard it this morning or last night. So the acceleration of decline is not it's not as far off as it was. So we have to tighten up and be ready for this. Well, we are ready for this transition. But now, boss man, he has to be fed with a long-handled spoon. When we used to go to the hole all the time, they put you in there. Then they got the strip cells. The strip cells is dark, and they got a hole in the floor, not a toilet. And they got double, they got a regular cell, and then they got another door. You got to open up that first door, and then they'd have 2 or 3 of those rooms in each cell block of the hole. Like if it was 20 cells going down, 25 or less. The last 3, they call them strip cells. You would be in there naked, and you would be so. I would wind up in there from time to time, and I had another friend. We started together in the youth authority. We started together at Frico Ranch School for Boys, and I was a partial mess up. This guy was pure, and by then now we grown. And he ain't crazy, but he resents authority, and he don't. And the white man, when they would feed him, that's why they would feed me normally. They would come up to the cell and give me my food, and he would be there, and he would slip it through the thing, and there he'd be. But Herman Brown, the police would wear a raincoat and a rain hat, and they would have a long pole with a ping pong paddle on the end of it, and they would put his food on that, and they would hold it around him, because he would throw urine or feces, things like that at him. So that's how you have to feed boss man now. We call it a long-handled spoon, where he can't bite you or nothing, That's what long-handled spoon means. I know y'all know, but so that's the way we have to treat the system, because the system is incoherent right now. It's not. It's still functioning along, but it's not functioning. It's functioning off of inertia, not off design. The little children, they got slaughtered down in Texas, and all this stuff coming out about them, and they had an hour or more and the people are just panicked, and the gun stuff and the stuff with old Don Dom, they are not. This stuff is the system has lost all respect, all continuity, and so when I go out to California, I'm gonna hurry up and sue them so I can get some of the money and buy gold or something with it. Because the dollar, I'll have to sue them for $5 billion because it won't be worth $3. The American money is getting ready to drop. There's too much of it out, and inflation. And can you imagine, like the common man? Well, y'all deal with family people and all that more than I do. I can't imagine what the people are going through. Just when I go to the store to buy some of the stuff that so wait a minute, I was here last month and now look at that. But there's been no increase in wages. You know, uh, they haven't had a recession in several years. I think 2008 was the last big one. So they're way behind now because it should be every 7, 8 years. So this one is going to be stretched out, and they've broken all the rules. They've given away free money and inflation, and this is not America. This is all of Europe. If America has 8% inflation, London has 7.5%. You know what I mean? This is a global phenomenon. And our countries that are under sanction are doing better than they are. And they're under big sanctions. It's unbelievable. And we always talked about the money and all that. Well, look at the bundles of resources are being hooked together. It was years ago we talked about it, but we talked about it a lot in the last several months. Different economies consolidating, doing business in their own currency. And Russia, I think they got the strongest currency because when they told you we're not selling you no oil unless you buy it, so 7 out of 10 of them got in line. And that's enough. The others will get in line. And the starvation, the bread, the wheat, and all of that, and the poor people, Russia is now hooking up something with the poor African countries where they'll be able to get, you know. But just look at everything. The riots they always had in Egypt was bread riots.
And they're one of the biggest importers of wheat from Ukraine. Yeah.
I know the African nations actually met with Putin recently, the past week.
Oh no, he gonna work something out for them. Russia and Africa has as good a record as anybody. Russia and the Chinese have been, back 30, 40 years ago or longer. No, when I was there, Russians was in Ethiopia supporting different, the Cubans, when they went to Angola, it was over 30 years ago, they whooped the snot out of them South Africans. I mean, them Negroes, 65% of the soldiers, Muslims, it was black. They whooped the stew out of them South Africans. They had them scared. They didn't want to go. They were trying to join the police or anybody so they didn't have to go down there and fight them people. Okay, let's speed it up. The concept of treading water, we talk about it a lot. But first we're in the moving ahead. Then we go into a tread water. Tread water is you're studying, looking around, you're still active. Like we have never ceased activity. But maybe at certain times we're not going toward a specific goal. We're keeping our head and body above water. We're staying focused on what we're doing. We're analyzing. And now we're just about headed in the direction that we want to go in. I just mentioned that this is an era of extraordinary accuracy. Well, you can pull out your notebooks and see what we have said about the system, about the timing. And I've been right here all the time. I went to the program over there. We go to the... So how can that be? It's because the white man is dumb. He got the cars all messed up and the truck. How's the truck going to sit there and not run anymore? The doggone things are going to fall out of the truck. You know, that stuff don't happen. You don't see me jumping up and down about it. Why? Because we're more accurate right now. See, at different times allow you, that don't mean we're going to stay in this form. But at this form, this is perfect. I sit with my phone and I listen to lectures and I watch lectures from every university in the world almost on all the subjects. And I get 5 or 10% of something since, in other words, I get something out of them. I know what they're thinking and how they're presenting it. I look at this guy, Kevin Rudd or whatever his name, used to be the Australian foreign minister or something like that. He gives lectures on China. He speaks Chinese all that. Okay. He used to really he told Australians years ago, y'all might as well join on up and start learning how to speak Chinese. Then as soon as they sold these things illegally, it was legally, as soon as the government did what they did and they changed the subject, I was going to see, was he going to change? He changed, and now when he talks about China, he might as well be talking about the devil. Just like that. He's flipped. He was always pro-Chinese. You know, he speaks perfect Chinese, you know. And now, since the system flips, in other words, he's not giving guidance. At first, he was giving guidance, but when they flip that China is now bad, he don't give those lectures anymore. China is good, he don't give any of those. Before, his lectures was pro-Chinese. A few months back, not anymore. And Taiwan and all of that, and Africa, and look, the reason things are moving like they are, and we don't have, it's not by schedule anymore. We don't know when the thing is going to collapse. Well, it'll collapse, but it's not going to go anywhere. America will still be here. But when it collapses, we should be somewhat prepared. We are kind of prepared, you know, and but really structurally prepared. We would like to get 1 or 2 steps out there. But whatever happened, we're psychologically and emotionally and directionally prepared for it. It's not going to be whatever happened, even if it's mass chaos, it will be chaos for them, not for us.
And I guess that's what I meant by total. When panic sets in.
Okay, well, remember, we've anticipated panic. That's why we say we want everybody to join the police force in a hurry. We don't have time to get around to them. I hope somebody heard it. And I hope the few that's there will be able to piece this thing together. But this thing is happening so fast now. It's accelerated. Okay, that happens with getting money, and it happens with the decline of a system. You know, we used to like be getting money, and it would be mathematically. It would be you getting money, but you can, you're getting 3 times your money, and you this and 3 times. Pretty soon, it jumps into geometrics. It's just like an explosion. Boom! And each dollar bounces into another dollar, and it explodes that dollar. That's geometric. Well, I think it's geometric. But in other words, that's the way we're getting ready to move right now. And we have to stabilize. We have a lot of hopes. For instance, everybody know who we are. When things get bad, they know them bums they listening to. They'll start listening to us. This is what I think would happen.
Yeah, that's what was happening when COVID was popping off and stuff, like the numbers went up. People that are back home that warned me about coming here, like showing up, watching elections and things like that.
Right.
Yeah, that already happened already once.
Yeah.
When COVID was looking like anarchy was about to break out, when COVID first started, it did, but it got kind of, shaky.
No, it was that was a global phenomena, and you notice they're not blaming the Chinese anymore. In fact, Dr. Fauci is going down in in the ratings. And Don never was. But Don, I have to give it to him. He told them to just drink some bleach. Take you some bleach, right? He did say that. To me, that was, I could have packed up and went home when he said that. I said, okay, it's all over. I'm headed in. But he did. He said, get you some bleach. And the white lady had her legs, when they're uncomfortable, women do their legs like that, their knees together and their legs pointed out like this. And she was sitting there like, what did this boy just say? And she was, anyway, body language, all their body language was just crazy. Anyway, let me go back and stay. Again, we just went over feed the system with a long handled spoon. Instead of trying to get up close to it and give it guidance, since you don't want to listen, you can stay over there. Please don't come around us. Predictions without moving, we just talked about that our forecasting is more accurate now and more precise than it was several years ago and several months ago. Because at this time, can you imagine, you don't have to go to the library and rent a video, a lecture on Africa and stuff like that, or get a book that's 5 or 10 years old, or, the articles that you could get on the web were better and more up to date. But you can get instant analysis. And we get our analysis, which we may 90% agree with. We may get their analysis, which we 10% agree with. But we put it all together. That's why we come up with everything, this is what it is. Everything is at our fingertips right now. In our laboratory, we don't have to go anywhere. We could bring all the latest stuff right into to our laboratory. And we associate it the way we want to. Hey, that's That's why we do put a week wait on analysis, or we go to sleep and wake up with a brand new analysis, but we don't run right over and break it. We wait a week or so just to let it gel. And okay, each conference, convention, program, we done reviewed this and we could see where it's coming from. Example. Okay, the last thing that I'd like to mention is, well, we talked about white girls, Iranians, Indians, South Africans, highly burying them. They used every kind of man. When I was in Oakland, some of the Indian brothers, there was some certain islands, Fiji Islands, they were still Indian food, everything. Like they bring their daughter by, that Indian hair, these girls would have hair down to their back, for marriage and what have you. And this is a sister and da, 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 da. And I'm not at that time. I'm not going to get married. I'm busy, I got stuff to do. Iranians, they didn't stop this till a few years ago. There's one Negro that I knew, he was with us. I knew he was the police. He said, it was a lady gave me a card and was giving me a talk. I'm doing right what you say. I'm in such and such a state now. My son just graduated. He's in college. He's 19. I'm all by myself and da 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 da. So I said, man, they trying to set me up. He said, no, I think she was just hitting on you to let you know she's free and available. I said, that's what I meant. I know and I didn't go for it. Okay. So everybody ran their girls through here or through there, wherever in every shape, form. Well, they usually shape that reasonable, but every look, every type of hair, every type of lips that you can think of, Negro lips, white folks lips, Julia Roberts lips, when they didn't put that stuff to make their lips big, but they still white. Well, that's what they call Julia Roberts lips. They stopped doing it. Do you know where the white folks are putting the little stuff in their lip to make their lips bigger? Yes, and then they hate niggas with everything that we got. They even had white women years ago wearing cornrows and naturals, and they'd fall out every hour or so. White boys trying to wear dreads, everything, stuff like that. But it's okay. It's okay. What do we have to say about Boss Man? His mojo is not working anymore. Just like the guy said, I got my mojo working, but it just won't work on you. Yep. The white man's mojo is not working. The Zionist mojo is not. This is just a historical reality. Okay. I'm not going to talk no trash, but I was. It goes back to the bitch slap stuff that the white man is just through. And he's getting whooped. He don't have to cooperate with us. In fact, we're going to feed him with a long handle spoon. You want it? You stay out there with it. Because when you come here to me with it, it's going to be unable to handle, and everybody blame it on me. I said, I ain't doing that. Mm-mm. And I told him a while back, that's your last chance, boss man. I don't, there's a certain level of yaqeen in what we're doing. Certainty. It's human certainty, not the ultimate certainty, like Allah certain that that's going to happen. But with human certainty, this stuff is kicking in and has been kicking in for 50 years. Okay. So tomorrow we'll get ready to ease out the PGMA. And what time did you want? I'm going to cook some more tonight. What time did you want to get ready to go out?
Yeah, I guess I can probably be here as early as 10, loading up the car. 'Cause I know the Juma, first one is at 12, I think.
Would it be at 12 or 1:30?
Yeah, let me actually double check.
Because, see, this is a different time. But if you can get here at 10, see, we can go out there and get set up and get everything burning and rolling. And I'm going to have the speaker there, and I'm going to invite people to have something, not speeches, but just welcome. And we're trying to pay you back for all of your help in assisting us to maintain. I was going to talk about RoboCop and Captain Ted. Well, I'll just wrap up with, you remember Captain Ted, I'm sure. Captain Ted could shoot so good. They told me they went to the pistol range, and you know where you shoot a face in a target and then shoot it out with the last bullet? That's the way they was at. Maybe they was exaggerating. But Captain Ted was a Marine captain, and him and his friend, they was sent by to, because we was talking about jihad and martyrdom during those years. And they didn't understand what we meant, that we was not in a weapons collection mode or going out and seeking physical martyrdom against the system using weapons, using their techniques. So the government sent him here. He was a specialist in that. He was good at it. And he was to train our crew to get ready for that. It's like letting it wither on the vine. I said, no, we don't. We're not going out in the woods. We're not doing any. We don't do that. We don't do that. We don't even think about it hardly. That's not what we're gonna win with. At that time, we was winning with whatever we was doing, and we was whooping behind. I'm telling you. But the language sounds like, at that time especially. And so they thought that they would trap us with weapons like they did other people. And we never just fell for it. So Captain Ted was serious on that. Another guy, he worked out at Lorton. At Lorton, they called him RoboCop. And he used to come to our place on 8th Street, needing guidance and help, you know. Out there, he was a mean joker out there. But he was playing like he accepted Islam. He was the only one that figured it could stand up under the pressure of what we're talking about. So they called him RoboCop. So I asked him when I'd go out, I said, yeah, guy come out here, Officer so-and-so, we still have a name tag on him. He all looking for something. Huh? No, RoboCop. Well, he would come when he would come at night, and he would come at other times when there was nobody there hardly. Yeah, and he was, so I asked all the brothers out there, they said, yeah, man, that's RoboCop. I said, yeah. So, but I knew it all the time. I wasn't going to accept, Anyway, everything they tried with us, said none of it has worked. I don't know of anything that has worked. None. It's not even in the right direction. You know why? Because they're not in the right direction. And so if we're headed in the right direction, they don't have anything to use on us. The only thing they can use is trying to get you going in the wrong direction. And if they get you headed in the wrong direction, they got tons of stuff They just load you up. So they don't have nothing to use because they ain't got nothing to use. So the last thing I want to mention is their regression into crackpotism. You got to remember now, the system is already into crackpotism. Watch the news. The emperor with no clothes, the man running all around the world and everybody laughing at him. Right now. Whatever conference, the South American conference. First of all, nobody from the Caribbean even go, if I remember right. 14 countries of the Caribbean don't go, and everybody else sent, Mexico didn't go. Now, you know Mexico's right. Good God Almighty. They don't go. And then some of their people don't go, and they don't send even a high-level representative. If on television, it was last month, they make fun of the old boss man that go to sleep all the time. You know, the president. And they have the vice president waking him up all the time. I don't know if anybody saw that coming from Saudi Arabia. That just you can see it on your phone when you get time. Saudi Arabia, you could find it. Saudi Arabia harpoons or whatever they call lampoons. President, what's the name?
Oh, yeah, they did put together a Saturday Night Live skit about Biden. Yeah, it was a couple weeks ago, I think. They did it.
Well, this was came from Saudi Arabia. Not, it was kind of like Saturday Night Live.
Oh, yeah, it was like Saturday Night. It was like their own version of it.
Yeah, their own version. Yeah, they just making fun of him. Okay,
That Kamala right next to him, nudging him, trying to wake him up.
wake him up, and he losing his place. I mean, you got to think about it. This is the United States of America. This is boss man, and he ain't acting like it. He ain't even trying to. When he try to act like the way boss man used to act, he's acting like a 1950s type boss man, and he don't have. It ain't like that no more. But I guess that's when he went to Congress 40 years ago, so he's acting like back in the day. And it ain't working. Anyway, are there any questions or any comments? No, we're just going to roll right along, and if there's no more questions or comments, thank you very much. And Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.